have something that haunts me that I've never told anyone before. I'm gonna tell you. So I guess let me just paint the picture. I'm gonna try to tell you so that it feels like you're there with me, or like you were there with me. Maybe you can tell me what happened because I still can't figure it out. I saw the Great Pyramid and got thirsty. Maybe it was all the sand, so dry and yellow. It seemed to stretch on forever. It even made the sky look dry. I poked my mom in the side. Mom, I'm really thirsty. Not now, she said. She had one hand up on her forehead, shielding her eyes from the bright sun as she stared up at the enormous pyramid. Not now. What does not now mean? I was thirsty. Now. Someone bumped me from behind and apologized in a foreign language. I never dreamed when I saw the Great Pyramid there'd be so many other tourists. I guess half the people in the world decided to spend their Christmas vacation in Egypt this year. But Mom, I said, I didn't mean to whine. It was just that my throat was so dry. I'm really thirsty. We can't get you a drink now, she answered, staring at the pyramid. Stop acting like you're 4. You're 12, remember? 12-year-olds get thirsty too, I muttered. All this sand in the air, it's making me gag. Look at the pyramid, she said, sounding a little irritated. That's why we came here. We didn't come here to get a drink. But I'm choking, I cried, gasping and holding my throat. Okay, so I wasn't joking. I exaggerated a little, just trying to get her attention. But she pulled the brim of her straw hat down and continued to stare up at the pyramid, which shimmered in the heat. I decided to try my dad. As usual, he was studying the handful of guidebooks he always carried everywhere. I don't think he'd even looked at the pyramid yet. He always misses everything because he always has his nose buried in a guidebook. Dad, I'm really thirsty, I said, whispering as if my throat were strained to get my message across. Wow, do you know how wide the base of the pyramid is? He asked, staring at a picture of the pyramid in his book. I'm thirsty, Dad. It's 13 acres wide, Gabe, he said, really excited. Do you know what it's made of? I wanted to say, silly buddy. He's always testing me. Whenever we go on a trip, he always asks me a million questions like that. I don't think I've ever answered one right. Some kind of stone, I answered. That's right, he smiles at me, then turned back to his book. It's made of limestone. Limestone blocks. It says here that some of the blocks weigh up to 1,000 tons. Whoa, I said. That's more than you and Mom put together. He turned his eyes from the book and frowned at me. Not funny, Gabrielle. Just kidding, I said. Dad's a little sensitive about his weight, so I try to tease him about it as often as I can. How do you think the ancient Egyptians moved stones that weighed 1,000 tons? He asked. Quiz time wasn't over. I took a guess. In trucks. was really huge, much bigger than it looks in pictures, and much drier. I can imagine how they pulled those big stones across the sand without wheels. I don't know, I confessed. I'm really thirsty. No one knows how they did it, Dad said. So it was a trick question. Dad, I really need a drink. Not now, he said. He squinted at the pyramid. Gives you a funny feeling, doesn't it? It gives me a thirsty feeling, I said, trying to get my point across. No, I mean, it gives me a funny feeling to think that our ancestors, yours and mine, Gabrielle, may have walked around these pyramids or even helped build them. It gives me kind of a chill. How about you? I guess, I told him. He was right. It was kind of exciting. We're Egyptian, you see. I mean, both sets of my grandparents came from Egypt. They moved to the United States around 1930. My mom and dad were both born in Michigan. We were all very excited to see the country our ancestors came from. I wonder if your Uncle Ben is down inside that pyramid right now, Dad said, shielding his eyes from the sun with one hand. Uncle Ben Hassad. I had nearly forgotten about my uncle, the famous archaeologist. Uncle Ben was another one of the reasons we had decided to come to Egypt over the holidays. That, and the fact that my mom and dad had some business to do in Cairo and Alexandria and some other places. Mom and Dad have their own business. They sell refrigeration equipment. It usually isn't very exciting, but sometimes they travel to neat places like Egypt, and I get to go with them. I turned my eyes to the pyramid and thought about my uncle. Uncle Ben and his workers were digging around in the Great Pyramid, exploring and discovering new mummies, I guess. He had always been fascinated by our ancestors' homeland. He had lived in Egypt for many years. Uncle Ben was an expert on pyramids and mummies. I even saw his picture once in National Geographic. When are we going to see Uncle Ben? I asked, tugging Dad's arm. I accidentally tugged too hard, and the guidebooks fell out of his hands. I helped him pick them up. Not today, Dad said, making a face. He didn't like to bend over to pick up things. His stomach got in the way. Ben's going to meet us in Cairo in a few days. Why don't we go up to the pyramid and see if he's there now? I asked impatiently. We're not allowed, Dad replied. Look, camels. Mom poked me on the shoulder and pointed. Sure enough, some people had arrived on camels. One of the camels seemed to be having a coughing fit. I guess he was thirsty too. The people riding the camels were tourists, and they looked very uncomfortable. They didn't seem to know what to do next. Do you know how to get down from a camel? I asked my dad. He was squinting at the pyramid, studying the top of it. No, how? You don't get down from a camel, I said. You get down from a duck. I know. It's a very old joke, but my dad and I never get tired of it. Do you see the camels? Mom asked. I'm not blind, I replied. Being thirsty always puts me in a bad mood. Besides, what was so exciting about camels? They were really gross looking, and they smelled like my gym socks after a basketball game. What's your problem? Mom asked, fiddling with her straw hat. I told you, I said, not meaning to sound so angry. I'm thirsty. Gabrielle, really? car was just a little bit bigger than some of my older remote control cars, and my head hit the ceiling with every bump. I'd brought my Game Boy with me, but Mom made me put it away so that I could watch the Nile as the road followed along its bank. It was very wide and very brown. Now it is so close to see it early on. This Christmas, Mom said. The open car window. Can I play with my Game Boy now? I asked. I mean, when you get right down to it, a river is a river. An hour or so later, we were back in Cairo with its narrow, crowded streets. Dad made a wrong turn and drove us into some kind of market, and we were trapped in a little alley behind a herd of goats for nearly half an hour. I didn't get a drink till we got back to the hotel, and by that time, my tongue was the size of a salami and hanging down to the floor, just like Elvis's. He's our Cocker Spaniel back home. I'll say one nice thing about Egypt. The Coke tastes just as good as the Coke back home. It's the classic Coke too, not the other kinds. And they give you plenty of ice, which I like to crunch with my teeth. We had a suite at the hotel, 2 bedrooms and a sort of living room. Looked out the window. You could see a tall glass skyscraper across the street, just like you'd see in any city. There was a TV in the living room, but everyone spoke Arabic on it. The shows didn't look too interesting anyway, mainly a lot of news. The only channel in English was CNN, but that was news too. We had just started to talk about where to go for dinner when the phone rang. Dad went into the bedroom to answer it. A few minutes later, he called Mom in, and I could hear the two of them discussing something. They were talking very quietly, so I figured it had something to do with me, and they didn't want me to hear it. As usual, I was right. They both came out of the bedroom a few minutes later, looking kind of worried. My first thought was that my grandmother had called to say that something had happened to Elvis back home. What's wrong? I asked. Who called? Your dad and I want to go to Alexandria right away, Mom said, sitting down beside me on the couch. Alexandria? We weren't supposed to go there until the end of the week. Business, Dad said. An important customer wants to meet with us first thing tomorrow morning. We have to take a plane that leaves in an hour, Mom said. But I don't want to, I told them, jumping up from the couch. I want to stay in Cairo and see Uncle Ben. I want to go to the pyramids with him. You promised. We argued about it for a short while. They tried to convince me there were a lot of cool things to see in Alexandria, but I held my ground. Finally, Mom had an idea. She went into the bedroom, and I heard her making a phone call to someone. A few minutes later, she came back with a smile on her face. I talked to Uncle Ben, she announced. Wow, do they have phones in the pyramid? I asked. No, I talked to him at the small lodge he's staying at in Algiza, she replied. He said he'd come and take care of you if you want, while your dad and I are in Alexandria. Yeah, this was starting to sound outstanding. Uncle Ben is one of the coolest guys I've ever known. Sometimes I couldn't believe he was Mom's brother. It's your choice, Gab, she said, glancing at my dad. You can come with us, or you can stay with Ben till we get back. Some choice. I didn't have to think about it for more than 1/18th of a second. I'll stay with Uncle Ben, I declared. One other thing, Mom said, grinning for some reason. You might want to think about this. I don't care what it is, I insisted. I choose Uncle Ben. She was an inch taller than me. That was last Christmas, I guess. She thought she was really on stuff because she could get to the last level of Super Mario World. But it wasn't fair because I don't have Super Nintendo, only regular Nintendo, so I never get to practice. I think that's what she liked about me best, that she could beat me at games and things. Sari is the most competitive person I know. She has to be first and best at everything. If everyone around is catching the flu, she has to be the first one to catch it. Stop pounding the couch like that, Mom said. She grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. Does that mean you changed your mind? You're coming with us, Dad asked. He thought about it. No, I'll stay here with Uncle Ben, I decided. And you won't fight with Sari, Mom asked. She fights with me, I said. Your mom and I have got to hurry, Dad said. They disappeared into the bedroom to pack. I turned on the TV and watched some kind of game show in Arabic. The contestants kept laughing a lot. I couldn't figure out why. I hardly know a word of Arabic. After a while, Mom and Dad came out again, dragging suitcases. We'll never get to the airport in time, Dad said. I talked to Ben, Mom told me, brushing her hair with her hand. He'll be here in an hour and a half. Gab, you don't mind staying alone here for just an hour, do you? Huh? Not much of an answer, I'll admit, but her question caught me by surprise. I mean, it never occurred to me that my own parents would leave me all alone in a big hotel in a strange city where I didn't even know the language. I mean, how could they do that to me? No problem, I said. I'll be fine. I'll just watch TV till he comes. Ben's on his way already, Mom said. He and Sari will be here in no time. And I phoned down to the hotel manager. He said he'd have someone looking on you from time to time. Where's the bellhop? Dad asked, nervously pacing to the door and back. I called down there 10 minutes ago. Just stay here and wait for Ben, okay? Mom said to me, walking up behind the couch, leaning over and squeezing my ears. For some reason, she thinks I like that. Don't go out or anything. Just wait right here for him. She bent down and kissed me on the forehead. I won't move, I promised. I won't move, I promised. I'll stay right here on the couch. I won't go to the bathroom or anything. Can't you ever be serious? Mom asked, shaking her head. There was a loud knock on the door. The bellhop, a bent-over old man who didn't look as if he could pick up a feather pillow, had arrived to take the bags. Mom and Dad, looking very worried, gave me hugs and more final instructions and told me once again to stay in the room. The door closed behind them, and it was suddenly very quiet. Very quiet. I turned up the TV just to make it a little noisier. The game show had gone off, and now a man in a white suit was reading the news in Arabic. I'm not scared, I said aloud, but I had kind of a tight feeling in my throat. I walked over to open the door. The sun was nearly down. This all the skyscrapers slanted over the street and onto the hotel. I picked up my Coke glass and took a sip. It was watery and flat. My stomach growled. I suddenly realized that I was hungry. quiet was making me nervous. I slapped the mummy hand against my palm and kept pacing. Where were they? They should have been here by now. I was beginning to think that I'd made the wrong choice. Maybe I should have gone to Alexandria with Mom and Dad. Then I heard a noise at the door. Footsteps. Was it them? I stopped in the middle of the living room and listened, staring past the narrow front hallway to the door. The light was dim in the hallway, but I saw the doorknob turn. That's strange, I thought. Uncle Ben would knock first, wouldn't he? The doorknob turned. The door started to break open. Barging. Slowly, the door squeaked open. As I stared frozen in the middle of the room, unable to call out, standing in the doorway was a tall, shadowy figure. I gasped as the figure lurched into the room, and I saw it clearly. Even in the dim light, I could see what it was. A mummy, glaring at me with round, dark eyes through holes in its ancient, thick bandages. A mummy, pushing itself off the wall and staggering stiffly toward me into the living room, its arms outstretched as if to grab me. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. I took a step back, and then another. Without realizing it, I'd raised my little mummy hand in the air, as if trying to fend off the intruder with it. As the mummy staggered into the light, I stared into its deep, dark eyes and recognized them. Uncle Ben, I screamed. Angrily, I heaved the mummy hand at him, and hit his bandaged chest and bounced off. He collapsed backwards against the wall, laughing that booming laugh of his, and then I saw Sari poking her head in the doorway. She was laughing too. They both thought it was hilarious, but my heart was pounding so hard, I thought it was going to pop out of my chest. That wasn't funny, I shouted angrily, balling my hands into fists at my sides. I took a deep breath, then another, trying to get my breathing to return to normal. I told you she'd be scared, Sari said, walking into the room, a big, superior grin on her face. Uncle Ben was laughing so hard, he had tears running down his bandaged face. He was a big man, tall and broad, and his laughter shook the room. You weren't that scared, were you, Gab? I knew it was you, I said, my heart still pounding as if it were a wind-up toy someone had wound up too tight. I recognized you right away. You sure looked scared, Sari insisted. I didn't want to spoil the joke, I replied, wondering if they could see how terrified I really was. You should have seen the look on your face. Uncle Ben cried and started laughing all over again. I told Daddy he shouldn't do it, Sari said, dropping down onto the couch. I'm amazed they'll tell people let him come up dressed like that. Uncle Ben bent down and picked up the mummy hand I had tossed at him. You're used to me and my practical jokes, right, Gab? Yeah, I said, avoiding his eyes. Secretly, I scolded myself for falling for his stupid costume. I was always falling for his dumb jokes. Always. And now there was Sari grinning at me from the couch, knowing I was so scared that I'd practically had a gow. Uncle Ben pulled some of the bandages away from his face. He stepped over and handed the little mummy back to me. Where'd you get that? He asked. Garage sale, I told him. I started to ask him if it was real, but he surrounded me in a big bear hug. The gauze felt rough against my cheek. Good to see you, Gab, he said softly. You've grown taller. Almost as tall as me, Sari chimed in. Uncle Ben motioned to her. Get up and help me pull the stuff off. I kinda like the way you look in it, Sari said. Get over here, Uncle Ben insisted. Sari got up with a sigh, tossing her straight black hair behind her shoulders. She walked over to her dad and started unraveling the bandages. I got a little carried away with this mummy thing, Gab, Uncle Ben admitted, resting his arm on my shoulder Daddy's discovered a whole new burial chamber. Sari broke in before her dad had a chance to tell me himself. He's exploring parts of the pyramid that have been undiscovered for thousands of years. Really? Into a section I have no choice, Uncle Ben said dryly. What else am I going to do with you? Are there mummies in there? I asked. Will we see actual mummies? Do you miss your mummy? Sari said, her lame idea of a joke. I ignored her. Is there treasure down there, Uncle Ben? Egyptian relics. Are there wall paintings? Let's talk about it at dinner, he said, tugging off the last of the bandages. He was wearing a plaid sport shirt and baggy chinos under all the gauze. Come on, I'm starving. Race you downstairs, Sari said, and shoved me out of the way to give herself a good head start out of the room. We ate downstairs in the hotel restaurant. There were palm trees painted on the walls and miniature palm trees planted in big pots all around the restaurant. Large wooden ceiling fans rolled slowly overhead. The three of us sat in a large booth, Sari and I across from Uncle Ben. We studied the long menus. They were printed in Arabic and English. Listen to this, Gab, Sari said, a smug smile on her face. She began to read the Arabic words aloud. What is it? The white-suited waiter brought a basket of flat pita bread and a bowl of green stuff to dip the bread in. I ordered a club sandwich and a Venturas. That's one for me, I thought happily, sticking my tongue out at her, and one for my dad's guidebooks. The pyramid was built as a royal burial place, Uncle Ben continued, his expression turning serious. The pharaoh made it really enormous, so that the burial chamber could be hidden. The Egyptians worried about tomb robbers. They knew that people would try to break in and take all of the valuable jewels and treasures that were buried alongside their owners, so they built dozens of tunnels and chambers inside, a confusing maze to keep robbers from finding the real burial ground. Pass the ketchup, please, Sari interrupted. I passed her the ketchup. Sari's heard all this before, Uncle Ben said, dipping the pita bread into the dark gravy on his plate. Anyway, we archaeologists thought we'd uncovered all of the tunnels and rooms inside this pyramid, but a few days ago, my workers and I discovered a tunnel that isn't on any of the charts. An unexplored, undiscovered tunnel, and we think this tunnel may lead us to the actual burial chamber of Khufu himself. Outstanding, I exclaimed, and Sari and I will be there when you discover it. Uncle Ben chuckled. I don't know about that, Gab. It may take us years of careful exploration, but I'll take you down into the tunnel tomorrow. Then you can tell your friends you were actually inside the ancient pyramid of Khufu. I've already been in it, Sari bragged. She turned her eyes to me. It's very dark. You might get scared. No, I won't, I insisted. No way. sweet. It took me hours to get to sleep. I guess I was excited about going into the pyramid. I kept imagining that we found mummies and big chests of ancient jewels and treasure. Uncle Ben woke us up early the next morning, and we drove to the pyramids outside Al Jaza. The air was already hot and sticky. The sun seemed to hang low over the desert like an orange balloon. There it is, Sari declared, pointing out the window, and I saw the Great Pyramid rising up from the yellow sand like some kind of mirage. Uncle Ben showed us a special permit to the blue uniformed guard, and we followed a narrow private road that curved through the sand behind the pyramid. We parked beside several other cars and vans in the blue-gray shadow of the pyramid. As I stepped out of the car, my chest was thudding with excitement. I stared up at the enormous worn stones of the Great Pyramid. It's over 4,000 years old, I thought. I'm about to go inside something that was built 4,000 years ago. Your sneakers untied, Sari said, pointing. She sure knew how to bring a girl back down to earth. I bent to the sand to tie my sneaker. For some reason, the left one was always coming inside, even when I double knotted it. My workers are already inside. I'll open this. Now, stay close together, okay? Don't let her lose. The tunnels really are like a maze. It's very easy to get lost. No problem, I said, my trembling voice revealing how nervous and excited I was. Don't worry. I'll keep an eye on Gab, Dad, Sari said. She was only 2 months older than me. Why did she have to act like she was my babysitter or something? Uncle Ben handed us both flashlights. Clip them onto your jeans as we go in, he instructed. He gazed at me. You don't believe in curses, do you? You know, the ancient Egyptian kind. I don't know how to reply. I didn't know how to reply, so I shook my head. Good, Uncle Ben replied, grinning, because one of my workers claims we've violated an ancient decree by entering this new tunnel. We've activated some curse. We're not scared, Sari said, giving him a playful shove toward the entrance. Get going, Dad. And seconds later, we were stepping into the small square opening cut into the stone. Stooping low, I followed them through a narrow tunnel that seemed to slope gradually down. Uncle Ben led the way, lighting the grounds with a bright halogen flashlight. The pyramid floor was soft and sandy. The air was cool and damp. The walls are granite, Uncle Ben said, stopping to rub a hand along the low ceiling. All of the tunnels were made of limestone. The temperature suddenly dropped. The temperature dropped suddenly. The air felt even wetter. I suddenly realized why Uncle Ben had made us wear our sweatshirts. If you're scared, we can go back, Sari said. I'm fine, I replied quickly. The tunnel ended abruptly. A pale, yellow wall rose up in front of us. Ben's flashlight darted over a small, dark hole. Down we go, Ben said. You don't even see the front of his knees. He turned back to me. Stairs down to the new tunnel. My workers installed a rope ladder. Just take your time on it. Take it slowly, one rung at a time, and you'll be fine. No problem, I said, but my voice cracked. Don't look down, Sari advised. It might make you dizzy and you'll fall. Thanks for the encouragement, I told her. I pushed my way past her. I'll go down first, I said. I was already tired of her acting so superior. I decided to show her who was brave and who wasn't. No, let me go first, Uncle Ben said, raising a hand to stop me. Then I'll shine the light up at the ladder and help you down. With another groan, he maneuvered himself into the hole. He was so big, he nearly didn't fit. Slowly, he began to lower himself down the rope ladder. Sari and I leaned over the hole and peered down, watching him descend. The rope ladder Okay, I'm down. You're next, Gab. Uncle Ben called up to me. I turned and swung my feet onto the rope ladder. I grinned in sorry. See ya. I lowered my hands to the sides of the rope ladder, and as I slid them down, I cried out, ow! The rope wasn't smooth. It was coarse. It cut my hands. The sharp stab of pain in my hands. Before I even realized what was happening, I started to sob. Two hands reached for mine. They shot my wrist. My hands ached. Saved your life. Sorry called down to me, leaning into the opening, her face inches from mine. I opened my eyes and stared up at her. Thanks, I said gratefully. No problem, she replied, and burst out laughing. Laughing from relief, I guess. Why couldn't I save her life? I asked myself angrily. Why can't I ever be the big hero? What happened, Gab? Uncle Ben called from the tunnel floor below. His booming voice echoed loudly through the chamber. The circle of light from his flashlight danced across the granite wall. The rope cut my hands, I explained. I wasn't expecting. Just take your time, he said patiently. One rung at a time, remember? Lower your hands, don't slide them. In our lighted flashlights, our eyes following the spooks' lights. This way, Uncle Ben said, quietly, and he headed off to the right, walking slowly, stooping because of the low ceiling. Our sneakers crunched on the sandy floor. I saw another tunnel leading off to the right, then another tunnel on the left. We're breathing air that is 4,000 years old, Ben said, keeping his light aimed on the floor ahead of him. Smells like it, I whispered to Sari. She laughed. The air really did smell old, kind of heavy and musty, like someone's attic. The tunnel widened a little as it curved to the right. We're going deeper into the earth, Ben said. Does it feel like you're going downhill? Sari and I both muttered that it did. Dad and I explored one of the side tunnels yesterday. Sari told me. We found a mummy case inside a tiny room. A beautiful one in perfect condition. Was there a mummy inside it? I asked eagerly. I was dying to see a mummy. The museum back home had only one. I'd stared at it and studied it all my life. No, it was empty, Sari replied. Why didn't the mummy have any hobbies? Uncle Ben asked, stopping suddenly. I don't know, I answered. He was too wrapped up in his work. Uncle Ben explained. Uncle Ben exclaimed. He laughed at his own joke. Sari and I could only muster weak smiles. Don't encourage him, Sari told me, loud enough for her dad to hear. He knows a million mummy jokes and they're all just as bad. Wait up, just a sec, I said. I bent down to tie my sneaker, which had come undone again. The tunnel curved, then divided into two tunnels. Uncle Ben led us through the one on the left, which was so narrow we had to squeeze through it, making our way sideways, heads bent until it widened into a large high-ceilinged chamber. I stood up straight and stretched. It felt so good not being scrunched down. I stared around the large Ben brought us over to them and introduced us. There were 4 workers, 2 men and 2 women. Another man stood off to the side, a clipboard in his hand. He was an Egyptian, dressed all in white, except for a red bandana around his neck. as much what Dust said. Come over here. I want to show you something. She led him over to a large pile of stones and debris. He shined his light where she was pointing. Then he leaned closer to examine what she was showing him. That's very interesting, Christy, Uncle Ben said, rubbing his chin. They fell into a long discussion. After three other workers entered the chamber, carrying shovels and picks. One of them was carrying some kind of electronic equipment in a flat metal case. It looked a little like a laptop computer. I wanted to ask Uncle Ben what it was, but he was still in the corner and fell into his discussion with a worker named Christy. Sorry and I wandered back toward the tunnel entrance. I think he's forgotten about us, Sorry said sullenly. I agreed, shining my flashlight up at the high, cracked ceiling. When you're with the workers, he forgets everything but his work, she said, son. I can't believe you're actually inside a pyramid, I exclaimed. Sorry laughed. She heard the slurp of a sneaker. Look, ancient bird, she said. Yeah, I can't use it, didn't say. Whether they were lost, maybe to the priestess, maybe a pharaoh, they could have seen right here with the You knew I hate that. Sorry, she apologized snippily. We can't, I insisted, watching Uncle Ben. He was having some kind of argument with the worker, carrying the thing that looked like a laptop. Your dad said we had to stick together, he said. You'll be busy here for hours, she interrupted, glancing back at him. You won't even notice we're gone, really. But sorry, I started. Besides, she continued, putting her hands on my shoulders and pushing me backwards toward the chamber. He doesn't want us hanging around. We'll only get in the way. Sorry. I went exploring yesterday, she said, pushing me with both hands. We won't go far. You can't get lost. All the tunnels lead back to this big room, really. I just don't think we should, I said, my eyes on Uncle Ben. He was down on his hands and knees now, ticking against the wall with some kind of a pick. Let go of me, I told her. Really, And then she said what I knew she'd say. What she always says when she wants to get away. Are you chicken? No, I insisted. Again, she began tough. He repeated, grinning at me. Victory. Disgusted face. Okay. Let's go exploring, I told her. I mean, what else could I say? But not far, I added. Don't worry, she said, grinning. We won't get lost. I'll just show you some of the tunnels I looked at yesterday. One of them has a strange animal picture carved on the wall. I think it's some kind of a cat, I'm not sure. Really? I cried, instantly excited. I've seen pictures of free leaf carvings, but I've never. It may be a cat, Sorry said. Or maybe a person with an animal head. It's really weird. Where is it? I asked. Where is it? I asked. Follow me. At the stone wall. Then I followed Sorry out of the chamber. We squeezed through the narrow tunnel, then turned and followed a slightly wider tunnel to the right. I hesitated a few steps behind her. Are you sure we'll be able to get back? I asked, keeping my voice low so she couldn't accuse me of sounding frightened. No problem, she replied. Keep your light on the floor. There's a small chamber on the other end of this tunnel that's kind of neat. We followed the tunnel as it curved to the right. It branched into two low openings, and Sorry took the one to the left. The air grew a little warmer. It smelled stale, as if people had been smoking cigarettes there. This tunnel was wider than the others. Sorry was walking faster now, getting farther ahead of me. Hey, wait up, I cried. I looked looked down to see that my sneaker had come untied again. Uttering a loud, annoyed groan, I bent toward Dieth. Hey, sorry, wait up. She didn't seem to hear me. I could see her light in the distance growing fainter